What's up? Welcome to Blockchain Tech and Finance News with me, your host, KinToshi. If you're on the YouTube side, definitely please do subscribe, smash the screen popping up out of my way. That's cool. Sorry, I was talking to the monitor. If you're on the Blockchain Tech and Finance News, if you're on the YouTube side, please do subscribe, turn on the bell notifications. We're live weekdays during the 8 and 9 a.m. EDT hours. Also, if you are into NFT art, you can search KinSAMURAI on OpenSea and Foundation to collect my NFT art. You can follow me on TikTok, KinToshiGG, Instagram, KinToshiGG, and Twitch, KinToshiGG for extra content and gaming streams. Also on the chat, throw your chats in there and comments to be featured on the Jumbotron. All right, otherwise, let's go right on into the markets. Know what I need to do is, this music is way too loud. There we go. Listen to the monitor playbacks. Cool. All right, we have, I have the weekend news. So it was important over the weekend taking place. I'll start out with the markets, not the futures. We go with the Dow is up 2.47%. The S&P 500 up 2.37%. The NASDAQ is up 2.31%. VIX is up 1.31%. Gold is down 0.16%. Oil is down 1.89% in Europe. FTSE 100 up 0.55%. DAX 1.76% in the green. CAC 40 up 1.78%. FTSE MIB up 1.79%. IBEX 35 up 1.93%. And the Stock 600 up 1.58%. In the Asia markets, the Asia Dow is down 0.98%. The Nikkei 225 is down up 0.31%. Hang Seng is down 6.36%. Shanghai is down 2.02%. Sensex is up 0.18%. And Singapore is down 1.75%. In the Forex markets, we have the Euro down 0.23%. The Yen is up 1.01%. See, we're going to talk about the Yen today. And, it's like in Forex, I'm just kind of thinking like, wow, my personal thought is, because I've looked at Forex once before, and Forex is an interesting marketplace to trade within. But for collecting the yen, I just had this thought of myself collecting the yen because of what's going on with it. But it is up 1%. So in its drops, people traded that yen and is at a profit. So maybe people are going to take, I don't know how far up this 1% is going to go until people will take that kind of profit range back off the table amongst each other on the yen. The pound is down 0.11%. Australia dollar is down 1.47%. The DXY index is up 0.23%. The WSJ IDX is up 0.55%. And the rates, the US 10-year down 0.0271. Germany 10-year down 0.0832. The Italy 10-year down 1.74. Spain 10-year down 1.31. UK 10-year down 2.02. Japan 10-year up 0.0005. In the futures, DGIF is up 0.48%. S&P F up 0.41%. NASDAQ F up 0.12%. Gold down 0.21%. Silver is up 0.18%. And crude oil is down 0.28%. In the crypto markets, we have Bitcoin at $19,344 per BTC, down 0.79%. Ethereum and USD is $1,343.80, is up 1.02%. The futures, on the futures on Bitcoin is down 153, and Ethereum is on the futures up 13.58 USD. XRP is down 1.89%. Bitcoin Cash is down 0.77%. Litecoin is down 0.38%. And Monero USD is down 0.09%. All right, first piece of news I have for the day. There was a slew of news here, especially weekend news. So Monday news are typically a little longer and recaps and readings, but basically, not actually, it doesn't really need to be longer. It basically will just kind of recap and run through. And I have all these articles on the YouTube recap side, so you can read through at your own due diligence. In the blockchain tech and finance news category playlist on youtube.com/KinToshi. We have a weekend wrap up. This is from writer Harrison Miller for investors.com. Cryptocurrency news and price weekly wrap up for October 21st, week ending the 21st. So we're in a new week, so we're going to go through past news and what occurred here in brief, and a few other aspects. So we're going to start out with blockchain news, some crypto news, NFT news, tech news, finance news, and global news to close out the stream. Cryptocurrency prices rose Friday afternoon to finish sideways in what was a good week for stocks and another volatile week for digital assets. And as always, there was another eventful week for crypto news for Warner Bros. Releasing NFT. Let's just pop up 1,000 trillion ads in the space. For Warner Bros. Releasing NFT movies to MasterCard, bringing crypto to banks. Stir in the latest SEC probes Jack Dorsey's new decentralized social protocol. We'll look into this social protocol. Fidelity's Ethereum's offering and Tesla's Bitcoin holdings. So let's look into it. We got the Bitcoin was around 19,000 Friday, 19,200. Yeah, it did drop down to 18,700 range. Let's see. There's some general disclosures. Bitcoin miner Cores is suing crypto leader Celsius Network for not repaying the roughly $5.4 million it's owed since filing for bankruptcy in July. The Wall Street Journal reported Cores stock tanked this year, falling from $1 to $1 from $10 a share as the crypto markets suffered major losses. Let's see. I read about Interpol prepares to police the metaverse in a prior stream. So you can find that article in the stream over there. Top stablecoin struggles outside the US. So Coinbase US says stablecoin USDC, the fourth largest cryptocurrency by market cap, is mostly purchased in America. Currently, 3 times more USDC is bought with US dollars compared to non-American currencies. International users typically have to pay a fee to convert their local currency to USDC, creating a barrier for global adoption. So that's not creating a bridge of self-banking by imposing fees to convert. So let's get over that bridge and get with the tech, right? That's the point. Young investors turn to crypto. So let's see. Massive $84 trillion in private wealth will pass down to Gen Z and millennials by 2045, but generational differences in how people view money have never been starker as young investors turn to crypto, according to Bank of America. And Tesla's Bitcoin holdings still holds $218 million of Bitcoin as of Q3. Waiting for that bull run, apparently. Warner Bros. NFT movies. They're launching NFT movies and bringing Lord of the Rings to the blockchain. So I've been covering that and we'll continue covering that through production. Bloomberg Terminal of Crypto and other cryptocurrency news. Dash2 Trade aims to be the Bloomberg Terminal of digital assets with an expensive monthly subscription. Crypto analytics intelligence platform aims to raise $40 million through pre-sale of its D2T token. I don't know anything about that, but I'm just going to not read any further on there. Do be careful. It's a volatile market, so I don't really know anything about that. And I'm not looking further into that. Jack Dorsey's new decentralized network. So he's got is launching a decentralized protocol through his Blue Sky project. So maybe I'll look into some more info on Blue Sky. 16Z cuts back on startups. So Andreessen Horowitz plans to focus on lobbying and rebooting an accelerated program. General partner Chris Dixon said at TechCrunch Disrupt. Meanwhile, the firm has scaled back investments in crypto startups the last 2 quarters despite a new $4.5 billion fund. So crypto launch, I'm not going to look at, we kind of talked about Aptos blockchain a bit. Mining stalls, cryptocurrency news, Walmart and crypto, an interview with Walmart. CTO Krish Kumar said that crypto will become an important part of retail transactions. All right, so they're saying something from someone from Walmart. Let's see, what is SEC probes 3AC? Bankrupt crypto hedge fund. Oh yeah, I heard about 3 Arrows. Yeah, they got probes coming, so they got some people from the SEC looking into them. All right, let's go into Lazarus, the state-sponsored North Korea hacking group, successfully targeted Japanese crypto companies with phishing emails, according to reports from the Japan news. So we got something from, that's the first I've heard of the actual group of what the hacking group is out of North Korea. All right, so let's go into this next piece of news here. That's kind of like a more just like weekend recap roll up of what is going on. This is from Katie Brigham. This is another piece. This is from Tech from over the weekend. So CNBC, how Ethereum's merge made crypto mining more sustainable. After years of anticipation, the cryptocurrency Ethereum finally implemented a major network upgrade that completely changes how the blockchain verifies transactions, mints new coins, and secures its network, called proof of stake. The system has reduced Ethereum's energy consumption by more than 99%. Energy usage has been one of the cryptocurrency's biggest targets for critique, but it's not likely that Bitcoin will follow suit. Instead, the Bitcoin network is sticking with a system called proof of work, in which scrolled all the way. Reduced the Ethereum's energy consumption by more than 99%. Energy usage has been one of the cryptocurrency's biggest targets for critique, but it's not likely that Bitcoin will follow suit. Well, let me say this. Bitcoin has 21 million. So after you mine out the 21 million, Bitcoin is kind of just like a store of value or a collector's timepiece at that point of the first cryptocurrency piece. But otherwise, it's transactional. It doesn't have an incentive to be mined. So if there's no incentive to be mined, mining Bitcoin, then what does that do to the network node, and because more network nodes running and running the network is the point of Bitcoin. And so if to producing it through an energy intensive proof of work protocol that requires machines of the mining rigs and a lot of electricity consumption, and with newer innovative technologies to help with renewable energy, electricity going into mining, that's mining out the rest of Bitcoin. But we're closing in towards 21 million. When we're closing in towards 21 million, and that mining also goes through what's called halving. So every certain periods of times, the mining reward is halved. So the reward is less, and so there's less incentive to mine a Bitcoin because there's less reward in it. But it's still going to continuously be mined, but it's just going to be harder to be mined because the more mining, the more the reward. As smaller miners begin to not receive any rewards compared to the cost to run the machines, then the reward disappears, and because the electricity energy intensive, and they can't keep up with the machines because they're not large enough in a mining operation. So they then have to shut all the machines down. And so then that's left with less miners. So overall, the biggest conglomerate in mining pools are going to be mining out the rest of the Bitcoin. And after that, what will Bitcoin scale to? Well, there's Bitcoin Lightning Network. Bitcoin and Lightning Network is a whole different validation. I'll talk about Bitcoin Lightning Network news and actually aspects in future streams, most definitely, to how Bitcoin's main chain network can scale through Bitcoin Lightning and have smart contracts and have Bitcoin Liquid and marketplaces and games being built on the Lightning Network that's running off and bridging from the Bitcoin main chain. So again, bridges are vulnerable, so we don't know the context and the extent of the safety of Bitcoin main chain to Bitcoin Lightning Network bridge. I haven't heard of any vulnerabilities yet, but I'll have to research that as well. But there is a layer 2 scaling Bitcoin that can continue Bitcoin moving on, whereas after it's all completely mined out, will Bitcoin even be able to send one Bitcoin to another Bitcoin without it taking basically forever in time, because there's no network need to run the Bitcoin network because there's no reward of receiving a Bitcoin back. So Bitcoin essentially would be like not working at all? Would the chain just stop? Or is there a protocol to fork Bitcoin into its energy intensive production to be a proof of work to increase the supply? That's always been a theory of debate to a larger supply, possibly a fork of Bitcoin. That's proof of work that brings it to like larger, maybe like doubles it to 42 million or something. We will only have to see what occurs there. Energy. Let's keep going on. At the moment, guessing a winning number takes more than 100. What is this? Instead, a Bitcoin network is sticking with a system called proof of work, right? That's what we just talked about. Highly specialized computers trying to guess a winning number that serves to validate transactions and create new coins. That's what is known as mining. At the moment, guessing a winning number takes 100 sextillion tries. All of this work helps to secure the network by making it nearly impossible for bad actors to accrue enough computing power to take control. But recent research also shows that in 2020, mining consumed 75.4% of terawatts of hours of electricity, more than half of all of Austria or Portugal. This is a system formerly used by Ethereum, but now the network has swapped out miners for validators. Instead of playing a massive computational guessing game, validators are assigned to verify new transactions and earn Ether as a reward for doing so. To ensure that these validators act honestly, they essentially have to make a security deposit by staking a certain amount of Ether coins on the network. If the validator tries to attack the network, they'll lose their stake. Ethereum proponents say this penalty will make the Ethereum network more secure, while Bitcoin enthusiasts see proof of work as more secure, tried and true approach. However, the optics of Bitcoin's energy uses in the midst of the global climate crisis has become a problem for the network. In response, some major Bitcoin miners are starting to seek renewable energy to power their data centers and trying to change that narrative by touting Bitcoin's energy use as an asset as it helps drive investment into the nation's aging electrical grid. So that's a little bit about Ethereum's merge. And it was brief. I've been talking about it definitely a lot recently because it's been a recent aspect. This next piece of news is from CoinDesk. So build on blockchain. Stay away from gambling with crypto. Turkey Erdogan says. Turkey's Erdogan? I don't know if that's pronounced right. Erdogan. Hopefully. Not necessarily known for being friendly in crypto, the president's remarks suggest an openness to at least some aspects of the industry. This is from writer Sandali Onagama for CoinDesk. Blockchain has merits as a technology, but gambling with crypto should be avoided. Appearing before students at Istanbul University during the Blockchain Istanbul program, organized by his Justice and Development Party, AKP, Erdogan said he wants to see Turkey as a producer, not a consumer in the digital assets world, according to a report for CoinDesk Turkey. Despite Turkey being a fast-growing crypto market, that what just happened here? It just threw me into a hyperlink somewhere. All right. Despite Turkey being a fast-growing crypto market, the Erdogan administration is not known to be friendly towards the industry. In 2021, the government banned the use of crypto for payments. All right. So then later in the year, they made headlines that were plans to urgently send a restrictive crypto bill to the country's parliament, but not much has been heard of the legislation. The crypto market remains largely unregulated in this industry. So basically, they're noting his remarks seem to indicate an openness to at least some aspect of cryptocurrencies. He said Friday that Turkey seeks to establish its own virtual world or metaverse. And earlier this year, the president attended a forum organized by AKP in the metaverse. I advise our young people to take part in the change of innovations such as blockchain technology and turn to larger and more fertile channels instead of turning to crypto money gambling that has no basis, Erdogan said. Blockchain-based decentralized ledgers for immutable record keeping has the potential to radically change existing supply chains, he said, also noting the impact blockchain technology could have on protecting intellectual property. On the regulatory front, the president said the country's central bank is carrying out studies on cryptocurrencies. Our other ministries also follow this technology closely in their own areas of responsibility. He said we also closely monitor the activities of our private sector in blockchain technology. So yeah, they're basically, that's cool. They're opening up a metaverse and they've already actually been doing so. So they say, and I wonder what metaverse they're utilizing to spend time within. Or unless it's their own build, right? Time for blockchain to assure a profile beyond cryptocurrency record keeping. UAE's multiple industries and users need to fast track adoption for blockchain processes. This is from writer G2 Kataria, writer for Gulf News. Blockchain is still a relatively new term, and the context of has been thrown around enough times that it now quits into crypto in the minds of many people. According to the 2022 Global Crypto Adoption Index report by Chainalysis, the adoption of digital assets in the MENA region has grown 48% compared to the previous year. The data further states that MENA-based users received $566 billion in cryptocurrency from July 2021 to June 2022. Let's go ahead and try to serve me an ad. In the GCC, the UAE and Saudi Arabia rank as central hubs of advocating crypto adoption and acceptance. While crypto is a big part of the blockchain, the latter is a breakthrough technology beyond crypto. Blockchain represents an emerging infrastructure changing how industries and economies function amid a data and digital revolution. In simple terms, blockchain is a publicly accessible ledger of information and transactions. It's tamper-proof. It has created a world where all contracts can become digitally anchored and stored in seamless shared database databases that are safe from deletion and tampering. Most people don't realize that blockchain is not just about payments and crypto solutions, but rather has a broader impact on various industries such as healthcare, supply chain management, cybersecurity, government operations, and more. The main reason blockchain has rapidly become more pervasive across industries is because of the data security it provides organizations and users. Data, unfortunately, is not as secure as you think. According to the Federal Trade Commission, FTC consumers lost more than $5.8 billion to fraud in 2021 alone. FTC data further showed that around 14.4 million people fell victim to identity fraud, which roughly translates to about 1 in 15 people. Secure storage with massive data breaches taking place across prominent organizations such as Meta. Securing private data has never been more important with blockchain institutions and governments. With blockchain, institutions and governments can take place, can important documents like national IDs, certificates, wills, and deeds, and all in a single secure, encrypted yet public domain. Switzerland has already dabbled in digital IDs built on Ethereum blockchain. It probably won't be too long before we see the UAE take the same steps. Let's see, healthcare. Yeah, healthcare is a big part of it. The significant sector has been transformed by blockchain technology. The lack of secure platform to store and share data is one of the main challenges facing hospitals and medical clinics. Outdated infrastructures mean healthcare facilities and data remains vulnerable to hackers who misuse private healthcare data on a regular basis. Yeah, they literally seize data, and so it's not accessible, and then they leverage actually asking for Bitcoin bounties and ransoms, or not bounties, ransoms. See, good developers, we're working in innovating technology, and we win through hackathons like cryptocurrency type bounties and stuff that bring new Web3 technology and blockchain technology to the forefront of Web2 technology, or what we're seeing on databases that are built not on blockchain, around blockchain, where it's a secure ledger of database that can't be hacked or seized like that, where these databases are, and they're getting ransoms to unlock those data back to the hospitals so they can treat people who need to be accessing their records and having everything moving forward. So that's an issue, and so that's where blockchain technology can stop that abuse of the system. Right? This is where they're saying blockchain technology can provide a secure space for sensitive data like medical records and history to be stored and shared among authorized professionals and patients. In fact, IBM and even Intel, right, has the sawtooth ledger blockchain. IBM has already ventured in space with their own digital health pass, which enables organizations to verify health credentials for employees, customers, and visitors. Along with their industries have further boomed with blockchain. Are the e-commerce and retail industries becoming more efficient by lowering costs and tightening the security of transactions. E-commerce giants such as Walmart, Amazon, Alibaba have begun exploring blockchain technology, with the latter even having patented a blockchain-based transaction system in Brazil in March 2020. In the UAE, we have also seen various retailers and hotels giving their customers a crypto payment alternative. So making payments transparent, the blockchain technology can help governments, businesses, and individuals tackle some of the most pressing socioeconomic challenges such as unemployment and corruption. For example, governments and education institutions can utilize blockchain in record keeping with respect to student loans, adding to government's efforts to shift to a paperless and accessible system. Similarly, ports and logistics operators across the world have been using blockchain to tamper-proof shipment tracking and create a seamless supply chain operation. Another interesting use case this year has been the recording and tracking of charitable donations. Blockchain can be incorporated into philanthropic organizations and NGOs to increase levels of transparency and authenticity. Even with these emerging use cases, we need to understand that blockchain hasn't shown its full potential yet. We're still in the early stage of adoption. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that there. Till then, it's all a matter of time and patience in the world to start unlocking blockchain. That's a little bit there from a Gulf News article I found here about time for blockchain to assume a profile beyond cryptocurrency and cryptocurrency record keeping. Let's go on into some NFT news. Azuki Proof of Skate auctions draws $2 to $5 million, $2.5 million for NFT-backed skateboards. Bidding erupted over 8 offered by Chiro Labs. Chiro Labs is the foundational aspect, kind of like business corporate sense, with the developer pool. Basically, it's basically the what's interesting is basically it's the contract, the ERC 721A through Chiro Labs that developed that protocol of the code set behind the Azuki artwork. Let's see, a proof of skates auction. That's cool. Andrei Bogansky, writer for Decrypt. NFTs are often thought of as flat images, but a bidding war broke out on Friday over physical skateboards authenticated by an embedded chip. The auction, hosted by Chiro Labs, creators of the Azuki brand, allowed people to place bids in Ethereum to secure one of 8 skateboards and amass $2.5 million in ETH. Each of the skateboards is plated in 24 karat gold and weighs 45 pounds, according to Chiro Labs, which recommends that owners not try to ride them. The highest bidder paid over $400,000 for one of the skateboards, compared to around $260,000 for the lowest successful bid. Chiro Labs tells Decrypt that there were 145 total bids on the skateboards. And finally, NGL. So here's some Twitter. And finally, NGL, the strongest bid we've ever seen in Azuki Golden Skateboard auction. Congratulations to this person for winning Dragon Emblem's Golden Skateboard at a price of 309 Ethereum. The uniqueness of the skateboards are assured via a physical chip embedded inside of them, which can be scanned by a smartphone to verify ownership. An experienced Chiro Labs is calling it scan to own. The most expensive board went to an NFT collector named Dingaling, who already has a massive collection of NFTs that includes 70 Azuki avatars, according to LooksRare. After the auction ended, he called the Azuki community the most degen community he's ever seen on Twitter. All right. If one of the owners ever parted ways with their blinged out board, Chiro Labs said another person could scan the embedded chip to transfer the ownership to another wallet. The board represents Chiro Labs' introduction of a physically backed token, or PBT, which links a physical item to a digital token on the Ethereum blockchain. The company said the technology can be used to prove the authenticity of physical goods in a way that leverages blockchain technology. A PBT can also be used to keep track of who has owned an item in the past, which could be useful in the world of art for establishing a piece of governance. Azuki is a top-of-the-line collection when it comes to NFTs on OpenSea, according to the marketplace website, ranked 5th in a cumulative value of 174 ETH, or around 228,000 as of this writing, on their floor. Friday's auction dwarfed the namesake collection of Chiro Labs in terms of value. Friday's auction is not the first time Chiro Labs has dabbled in physical goods. Earlier this year, the owners of Azuki avatars were airdrop tokens that could be redeemed for physical jackets with a design that combined American and Japanese street culture. Tokens being tied to the sale of physical items is not new to the Web3 space. Earlier this year, luxury goods maker Tiffany & Co. released a series of NFTs that came with gem-encrusted pendants made in the image of CryptoPunks. A house in Germany was also auctioned off on OpenSea as an NFT. Companies have also explored the use of NFTs as a way of establishing secure supply chains for physical goods. Yeah, definitely works very well in supply chain tracking. So yeah, Azuki Proof of Skate auction draws $2.5 million for NFT-backed skateboards. Cool art beans right there. an aspect of the chip for proof of ownership and transfer the proof of the ownership of the physical aspects through chipping and ledgering on the blockchain is definitely at the forefront of innovation and a useful and idealistic protocol of logic of how blockchain can be utilized. Let's go into the next article. The floor price for Bored Apes and others, Bored Apes' other deed NFTs is crashing. So if anyone doesn't know, through Yuga Labs and the Bored Ape collection has launched other deed, the land for the other side meta. That's a metaverse that's being built on the blockchain. Volume is up and prices are down as sellers dump them well below 1.65 ETH. And I personally, within myself, I'm saying to myself that this price value of land is going to continuously be undercut continuously moving forward as we move into a even more recessional marketplace going into 2023. The other deed floor price, the minimum amount you must pay to get into an NFT collection has dropped 16% in the past 24 hours and crashed more than 25% in the 3 days, according to the data site Nansen. So I am personally watching other side meta deeds because it seems, at a Bitcoin low, the land will be at a certain low, and when it lands at that lowest point, for me, I'm thinking about collecting some land in the other side to build upon in their metaverse. And so sellers pushed the collection beneath 1.65 Ether for the first time amid a spike in trading volume. When Basic creator Yuga Labs debuted its hype-laden metaverse project earlier this year, it sold land rights as NFTs for about $7,000 each. Buyers paid thousands more in gas fees. Now, with much of the excitement drained from crypto markets, they're fetching about 1.25 ETH, or roughly $1,600 at current market prices. Before today's crash, the project had held its 1.65 floor for the past 3 weeks amid ETH-owned bottoming out in the $1,200 to $1,300 range. Right. So that's just a brief news brief there on the Web3 for NFTs. Writer Danny Nelson from CoinDesk. All right. Yeah, that was that. Let's go into this next piece of news. Continuing on. It's from Bitcoin.com. Let's see, they have a writer. A writer noted, but Bitcoin.com launches NFT project buyers and Verse token sale to receive exclusive NFTs. So I'm not pitching this completely, but I'm going to see what they're looking to build, and that's why I'm going to read this. So yeah, their own Bitcoin.com article is launching an NFT project, buyers and Verse token to receive exclusive. So I'm going to see what this Verse token is and what. Again, I'm not paid to read any of this stuff, so I'm not receiving anything. Just kind of researching what is going on. So they have an NFT project tied to its rewards and utility token Verse. Verse NFT collection will be a limited supply by a number of people who purchase Verse in the Verse token sale. So probably you'll have to get their Verse token, which maybe Verse is going to be that ERC20 cryptocurrency token, but then you can obtain their NFTs with the Verse token. So Bitcoins.com's Verse token will act as a powerful gateway to DeFi for millions of people, said Bitcoin.com CEO Dennis Jarvis. NFTs have so far played a similar role, bringing a whole new user base to crypto while fostering the creation of powerful communities. Integrating NFTs into Bitcoin.com Verse ecosystem is important, therefore, not only for increasing the ecosystem's reach, but also for galvanizing a resilient core community. Verse NFTs will have utility in the Bitcoin.com Verse ecosystem, such as providing access to exclusive products and services, discounts, and more. Each successful purchase in the Verse token sale will entitle a buyer a free mint of the Verse NFT from Bitcoin.com. Buyers who purchase, I want to learn about what the NFT is. It artwork, or what are they going to be doing with the art, the NFT, right? What do we do with that? That's just obtaining the token to get the NFT. What are they going to build with the NFT and the verse ecosystem? That's what I want to learn, what the verse ecosystem is. They're working hard to ensure that not only the minting process is straightforward and safe, but also the integration of NFT into the Bitcoin.com verse ecosystem enhances user experience, providing a positive introduction to this powerful application of blockchain technology. So yeah, for many in Bitcoin.com community, they will be their first NFT. Explains Director of Product Experience Alex Knight. The first NFT collection will be programmatically generated, which means it will be all unique and have different traits. It consists of space-themed characters whose features are randomly assembled, a wide range of options including accessories, body aesthetic, colors, background expressions, and more. Okay, so it's a generative project of art at this point, is what I'm seeing. The project is being advised by co-founder of Cool Cats, blue chip NFT collection with over 370 million lifetime trading volume. Let's see, centric audience give further adoption awareness around NFTs, innovation and solutions and implications around them. The Verse NFT collection will be minted on Ethereum blockchain. They're Ethereum whitelisted, so those who have the Verse token, minting the Verse NFTs will be available. About Verse, this is where we go. A Verse is the rewards utility token for the Bitcoin.com ecosystem and the world's gateway to DeFi. Strategic buyers purchased $33.6 million in a private sale of Verse tokens in May. Registrations for the public sale, which will start in November, are now underway. All right, so basically they're having access to the token. I wanted to really learn. I thought it was going to be a little more about, Verse ecosystem, but we'll have to see what they build upon. Because now I see an NFT collection, and maybe they'll scale it from there or something. We'll see. We'll see what they do with this Verse token, Verse ecosystem, and what they build from it. Let's see. Well, WSJ, let me read this. From writer Andy Kessler for WSJ Opinion. Make the metaverse a sandbox. So we're going to go into from NFT news into metaverse news in general. And we're going to go into some tech news, finance news, and global piece of news at the stream for the day. This is from, let's see, I was going to load this up. It's not going to let me read the thing. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if we can find this article. Sometimes we can find these articles just embedded somewhere else. But also sometimes not. All right, let's keep going on to the next article. Be interesting. I'm actually pretty open to jumping into Wall Street Journal, to be honest, to read such articles like that. So I think maybe that's something we'll dish on the channel, because I've seen some interesting titles from Wall Street Journal, and I try to find. We've sometimes been able to find the articles in other source pins. But otherwise, yeah, let's keep going. It's from Yahoo Finance News, and at this note, why is it not loading up? Are we going to load? Here we go. So Zero presents the Orb system, the first interoperable metaverse device for 360 spatial content streaming. So this is also metaverse news. So PR Newswire, Metaverse Innovation Lab, an IP company with a mandate to build a better metaverse, will be launching their first metaverse product, the Orb system, pronounced Orb, an interoperable content streaming device in which users can immerse themselves in 360 spatialized content. The Genesis Orb device is designed by celebrated German luxury car designer Alex Dang and supported by the Zero founding team. The Orb product launches on Saturday, November 12th. It's a numbered open edition of NFTs. The first 2,500 orbs will receive an airdrop 360 immersive experience NFT created by metaverse artist and Zero co-founder Krista Kim. With the eye was to the birth of the internet, Web 1, the orb system will be to Web 3. Peter Martin and co-founder in statements, orb system is the first ever all-in-one interoperable content streaming system for the open metaverse. Orb system lets owners stream 360 experiential NFT content of art, music, and VR streaming libraries, producing transformative immersive digital experiences is core to Zero's founding values. In the near future, the Orb device will enable its owners to move between existing metaverse platforms, helping facilitate an open metaverse. One of Zero's core values, the Orb is a GLB file format which enables interoperability between metaverse platforms. At launch, content streaming will work within Webaverse. Interoperability around identity and self-expression via assets like avatars, wearables, or even vehicles are fundamental for an open metaverse. By building on that front, we can help to prevent the metaverse from becoming a dystopic reality. Reen Schmidt, co-founder of Quellcode and Zero production partner, the Orb Genesis product launch will be a numbered open edition sold for 0.33 ETH through a dedicated microsite, the orbsystem.xyz. I'm going to grab that link for further resource of research. Through Q1 of 2023, Zero will be rolling out of the programming of 360 spatial experiences for the Orb, produced in collaboration with leading artists through leaders and brands. The Orb system is the first immersive virtual machine where anyone can control their experiences and become a master of their metaverse, multiverse mobility, and the advent of a new category of 360 art begins here. This is from Krista Kim, Chief Creative Officer and co-founder. Users can sign up at orbsystem.xyz in advance for Orb product launch. The Orb will be 0.33 ETH and goes live at noon EST on Saturday, November 12th, 2022. Let's see. We got some original content, multimedia press from PR Newswire there that can be further. I have all these links in the YouTube recap. Videos for further research. I'll be looking into this further, most definitely, to really learn more about this and follow along with it. But again, I'm not paid for any of this. I'm just researching things going on in the system, marketplace of blockchain, tech, finance, metaverse. Let's go into the BBC. All right, from the BBC, we're going to go into some tech news. So we're going to go out of blockchain, crypto, metaverse, and NFT news into tech. And then we're going to go into some finance, a piece of global news, and close out the stream for the day. New ground as tech aims to help boost soil health. This is from writer Jane Wakefield, technology reporter for BBC. Farmers used to test the quality of their soil by burying a pair of underpants in the ground and seeing how quickly they rotted. The idea being that the more healthy microorganisms that are in the ground, such as bacteria and fungi, the faster the fabric would be eaten away. Bury the pants now, and they may well be dug up in the following year in pristine conditions. That's because, according to experts, more than half of the world's agricultural soil is being degraded. In India, soil degradation is one of the factors alongside debt that is said to have led to the shocking statistic of nearly 30 people in the farming sector taking their own lives on average every day. To try to improve matters, a popular Indian guru called Sadhguru is continuing to lead a global campaign called Save Soil, which pushes to improve soil health around the world. He is calling for farmers to be given incentives such as financial support to keep a minimum of 3% of organic content in their soil. If we take that away and soil becomes sand, then it's over, he says. If we don't attend to our soil problem, we'll be left with the desert. History has shown us the devastating consequences of poor soil. We all remember those images of the North American Dust Bowl from the 1930s and being really shocked by that, says David Montgomery, professor of geomorphology at the University of Washington and the author of 3 books on soil, including Dirt, the Erosion of Civilizations. The reality of the most Most soil degradation is a buildup over time rather than a single catastrophic event, he adds. If you're consistently degrading land faster than you are building its fertility, you are drawing down its batteries, its ability to actually support agricultural production. Fertility is held in the top part of the soil, which has literally been stripped off by decades of centuries of agriculture, and it just makes it that much harder to grow food. There are several causes of soil degradation, from overgrazing to only growing one crop time after time, the excessive use of weed killers, but one contributing factor is a piece of technology that has revolutionized farming, the plow. All around the world, from subsistence, small holdings in Africa to the huge mechanized farms of North Dakota, this is a very old piece of technology is quintessential. This old piece of technology is a quintessential part of farming life. Modern plowing turns the soil in order to get rid of weeds, but in doing so, it exposes microbes under the soil that are vital for its well-being. These microbes, now exposed to the sun and die, and soil loses its fertility. The plow, alongside other machinery, as a combine harvester, has expanded the scale, speed, and productivity of farming, leading to more efficient cultivation of more land. But Ben Raskin, head of agroforestry and horticulture at the UK Soil Association, says we need to rethink technology role in farming. We have to make sure that technology supports soil and plant health, he says. That might mean new tools. Farm equipment suppliers such as John Deere are now introducing no-till machinery, farm equipment that is designed to cause minimum disturbance to the soil. These include seed planters that drop seeds into small holes rather than using a big blade to dig a long trench, or it may mean using robots that can help plant and weed in a more gentle way. One such device is the Roboti, made by Danish agricultural tech firm Agro Intelli. The development of this was helped by UK musician turned organic farmer Andy Cato from the band Groove Armada, who tested early versions. Meanwhile, cover crops, those that are not harvested but instead planted to stop the earth from being left bare, help to improve soil structure by increasing the organic matter in it. Ultimately, though, says Mr. Raskin, we may need to take focus away from above ground solutions and dig a little deeper. Much of the tech focus in farming has been on the chemical, pesticides, and physical machinery, but now is the time to start thinking about biology, he says. Currently, it is believed that scientists have identified only around 10% of soil life. Professor Montgomery says that for too long, the whole world that is below ground was kind of invisible to science, he said. He adds, soil is one of the last big frontiers of science to understand what is going on in it. Understanding the makeup of soil could spawn whole new industries such as biotech that focuses on gene sequencing the microbes in the soil in an effort to provide farmers with the best nutrients for their land. Going back to simple and old-fashioned techniques can also throw up interesting, potentially radical ideas. One experiment conducted as part of the Soil Association's innovative farmer program used willow woodchip mulch around trees in order to suppress weeds and disease. It was discovered that the acid in it actually stimulated an immune reaction to the trees. Let's go on. Soil beneath our feet may hold the secrets to so much wider human medicinal breakthroughs. Natural products from soil microbiome are a promising source of medicinal compounds, according to an article in Chemistry World. It points out that Teixobactin, a toxin that could give rise to the first new class of antibiotics in 30 years, was discovered by sifting through soil samples. For farmers worried about the quality of their soil but unwilling to part with their underpants, there are more modern ways of measuring it. Soil samples can be sent out to a laboratory to be tested, although this can be expensive and time-consuming. In the age of data and internet connectivity, smartphone can provide another solution. Jack Ingle is the director of Harvest Agri, the UK firm that sells a device called a microbiometer soil test. Farmers take a soil sample and add it to a test tube with a special solution, which is then transferred to paper. With a free app available on both Android and iPhone, the sample can be scanned to reveal a number that designates how many fungal and bacterial microbes are present. And it is not just farmers that are measuring the quality of the soil. A group of scientists have created a database of soil health measurements from sites across the globe called Soil Health DB. Last year, the EU established this EU Soil Observatory to collect and track soil data and to support soil research and policy development. But much of the future of farming technology could be about learning from the past, thinks Professor Montgomery. It takes some of the ancient wisdom like crop rotation and cover crops and to merge that in new ways with modern technology, the sensors and robots that in the prospecting for microbial inoculants, beneficial microorganisms, he says. Okay, is that the end of the article? Because it just goes into a big black box. Yeah, I think that's it. It's interesting to say, most definitely, of new ground as tech aims to help boost soil health. So that's in the tech sector of news going on here. And we're going to go on to the next piece of tech news. From India Express. So dwarf star planets and alien life. Astronomers make a new discovery that can dramatically narrow search for aliens. We don't really know where aliens are, but a new discovery about planets surrounding M dwarf stars means that we may know more about where they are not. So this is from writer by Science Desk, the Lassery. Red dwarf stars, or M dwarf stars, are the most common type of stars in the universe. Recent research into an Earth-like planet orbiting such a star discovered that it has no atmosphere. According to the research behind the study, this discovery could create a major shift in the way we look for alien life. Since these stars are so common, the discovery of GJ1252b, the planet in question having no atmosphere, could mean that a large number of planets orbiting such a star could probably not be able to host any life. This Earth-like planet is slightly larger than ours and is much close to its star than we are to our sun. This makes GJ1252b intensely hot and pretty much in hospital. The pressure radiation is immense, enough to blow a planet's atmosphere away, says Michael Hill, UC Riverside astrophysicist and co-author of the study, published in the Astrophysical Journal Letters in a press statement. This is lazy loading with a lot of ads. A lot of ads in here. So how planets the atmosphere of the Earth also loses some of its atmosphere over time to the intense radiation from the sun. But on our planet, a combination of volcanic emissions and other carbon cycling processes replenishes what is lost for the most part. But for a planet like GJ1252b, which has a much tighter orbit around its with its star, it is nearly impossible to replenish the atmosphere being lost. So it's basically like moving too fast, I guess. And the orbit is like a magnetational pull of its orbit is too strong. The planet closest to the sun does technically have an atmosphere, but is an extremely thin one made up of atoms that the sun's radiation blasted off its surface. All right, okay, so that makes sense why there is an atmosphere there on those ones. The extreme heat on Mercury means that most of these atoms escape into space. How do scientists know GJ1252b does not have an atmosphere? A secondary eclipse is when a planet passes behind a star, blocking the light from the planet and the light that is refracted from the star. Astronomers measured infrared radiation from GJ1252b when it was obscured by such an eclipse. This infrared radiation revealed that the planet's temperatures are scorching hot during its daytime, tipping the scales of around 1,227 degrees Celsius. This is hot enough to melt all the gold, silver, and copper on the planet. Based on this heat and low surface pressure on the planet, scientists concluded that there is no atmosphere there. The planet could have 700 times more carbon than Earth has, and it still wouldn't have an atmosphere. It would build up initially, but then taper off and erode away, says Stephen Kane, UCR astrophysicist and study co-author in a press statement. The chances of a habitable planet, all of the above just combined with the fact that M dwarfs tend to have more flares and activity than the sun means that it is extremely unlikely that planets closely surrounding such planets can hold on to their atmosphere. But Earth's solar neighborhood is around 5,000 stars, and most of them are M dwarf stars. But even if M dwarf stars are ruled out, there are still around 1,000 sun-like stars that could host habitable planets, but M dwarf stars cannot be ruled out completely. If a planet is far enough away from an M dwarf star, it could potentially retain an atmosphere. We cannot conclude yet that all rocky planets around these stars get reduced to Mercury's fate. I remain optimistic, said Hill. All right, definitely interesting. Interesting. Astronomers make a new discovery that can dramatically narrow searches for aliens, but they're not ruling it out. They're not ruling it out completely, but they have a protocol that they're put in place to help navigate the great abyss, the heaven's firmament of space and the universe for Earth-like planets. So this is from Reuters. Japan suspected FX, so Forex intervention fails to stem the yen slide. This is from Tetsushi Kajimoto and Yoshifumi Takamoto. So, in summary, the yen is volatile as Tokyo suspected of intervention for a second day. FX officials remain tight-lipped on intervention, and policy keepers keep up warnings versus excess FX volatility. And the BOJ Kuruda repeats need to keep ultra-low rates. In Tokyo today, Japanese policymakers on today continued efforts to tame sharp yen falls, including through 2 straight market days of suspected intervention, but ultimately failed to prop up the currency against persistent dollar strength. The yen sell-off is hurting the world's 3rd largest economy by driving already surging import bills and challenges the Bank of Japan's commitment to ultra-low rates in the face of rapid global monetary tightening to combat rampant inflation. The Japanese currency dumped 4 yen to 145.28 per dollar in early Asia trade on Monday, suggesting authorities have stepped in for a second straight day after a similar move by Tokyo on Friday. We won't comment, Masato Kanda, Vice Finance Minister for International Affairs, told reporters at the Ministry of Finance (MOF) when asked if they intervened again on Monday. We are monitoring the market 24/7 while taking appropriate responses. We'll continue to do so from now on as well, said Kanda, who oversees Japan's exchange rate policy. I mean, they're probably not trying to draw too much attention to the fact that they're buying and stabilizing their own currency back. I'm just saying. However, the yen failed to cling to early gains and briefly hit a low of 149.7 per dollar as markets continue to focus on the widening divergence between the Bank of Japan's ultra-easy monetary policy and steady rate hike plans by the U.S. Federal Reserve. It last stood around 148.8. In the past crises involving British in the past crisis involving British pound and Italy's lira, authorities have ended up failing to defend their currencies. Likewise, Japan's stealth intervention only has limited effects, said Daisaku Ueno, chief FX strategist at Mitsubishi UFJ Morgan Stanley Securities. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of noting that like earlier in the stream, like about strictly forex trading of the yen. Our collection of it. Strength in the dollar is the biggest factor behind the weak yen. If the United States shows signs of its rate hikes peaking out and eventually even cutting interest rates, the yen would stop weakening even without intervention. Japan likely spent a record 5.4 trillion or 5.5 trillion yen, $36.16 billion, to $36.83 billion in its yen buying intervention last Friday, according to estimates by Tokyo money market brokerage firms. That is much bigger than the roughly 2.8 trillion yen Japan spent supporting the currency in September 22nd, which was the first yen buying dollar selling intervention since 1998. The BOJ's buying the yen's plight puts the BOJ under the spotlight as it meets for a 2-day rate meeting ending on Friday, when it is widely expected to maintain ultra-loose monetary policy, with inflation relatively modest and the economy unable to move into a faster gear. The central bank is wary of raising rates and risk triggering a recession. It's extremely undesirable that Japan's real wages adjusted for inflation continue to fall, BOJ Governor Haruhiko Kuroda told Parliament on Monday. It's desirable for inflation to stably achieve our 2% target accompanied by wage rises, Kuroda said, stressing the need to keep supporting the economy with ultra-low rates. The Fed, which meets the following week, is widely expected to hike rates again as focus on fighting red-hot inflation. The widening U.S.-Japanese rate differential is likely to keep downward pressure on the yen, which has fallen more than 20% against the dollar this year. Japanese authorities confirmed that they stepped into the market when it intervened on September 22nd. Since then, authorities have remained silent to whether they made any further attempts to support the currency, including on Friday when Tokyo likely conducted stealth intervention at 1.33 trillion. I mean, let's put it this way. I've been following this for a while, so it's like I could have been buying the yen and their stealth intervention probably now be like selling against the yen because obviously, you know, you see it in the green and stuff like that. It's just like following like the percentage on the FX, but and making a call on an interpersonal call. For me, I just was saying, you know, in theory, it would have made sense in prior streams when I was saying, you know, I feel like I have an interpersonal interest to collect the yen because of this. And obviously right now, had I collected that yen, I could be selling that yen right now. And maybe compounding. Maybe other people are. I don't know. We'll have to see what they're doing. It seems most definitely, Japan's going to do something with this yen. We were talking about some digital yen and maybe bridging it into a blockchain protocol, and they're utilizing it somewhere within their own ecosystem in Japan. Finance Minister Shunichi Suzuki repeated that excessive currency moves were undesirable. All right, so that's what I also want to say, because now they have got a bunch of their own currency back in their country without a catalyst of USD behind it, from my understanding now, because they let that USD go. We absolutely cannot tolerate excessive moves in the foreign exchange market based on speculation, he told reporters at the finance ministry. We will respond appropriately to excess volatility, he said, a view echoed by Prime Minister Fumio Kishida in Parliament later on Monday. So $1 equals 149.32 yen. At the time of recording, it seems on this. Is that it? That's it. So I'm going to keep following this most definitely. And the Japan's suspected FX intervention fails to stem the yen slide. Let's go on to the next piece of news here. We're going to go into finance. After a $13 trillion stock crash, signs of turn are now mounting from writer Elena Pina from Yahoo Finance. From Weekend Recap News here, going into today, new week. So judging by the ominous pronouncements from Wall Street luminaries, every trader under the sun should be prepping for fresh turmoil in the world's biggest stock market. Yet hedging for doom and gloom is falling out of fashion fast, thanks to a historic equity rout that's already erased $13 trillion in market value this year and flushed out both retail and institutional investors. And the options marketplace, the relative cost of contracts that pay off if the S&P 500 index sinks another 10%, has collapsed to the lowest since 2017. Appetite for bullish wagers is on the rise, and the popular SIBO volatility index is sitting far below multi-year highs, even as equity benchmarks plumb bear market lows. All that might sound strange, even the Federal Reserve is still hell-bent on delivering aggressive rate hikes, just as recession risk snowballs, but traders are getting tired of reciting the same old bearish mantras. Equity exposures have already been slashed to historic lows, while elevated inflation and monetary hawkishness are hardly new threats. When there is so much skepticism out there, maybe things aren't actually as bad, said Gary Bradshaw, a portfolio manager at Hodges Capital Management in Dallas, Texas. We're awfully close to having all the headwinds priced in. The narrative is getting repetitive. The traders are slowly getting fed up. A sense of exhaustion is a low bar exhaustion, a low bar for good news and a higher bar for bad news, help explain why the S&P 500 slow burn crash appears to be creating fewer day-to-day fireworks. Meanwhile, an impulse to chase potential stock market gains in a recent gains into a historically strong time of year has been on display of late, turning the rare sessions when the S&P 500 actually advanced in October. It posed a 2.4% average gain, a move that's 1.8 times bigger than the average decline this month. It's the wildest ratio since October 19th, data compiled by Bloomberg show. That's not to say traders are bullish. The VIX is still hovering near 30, reflecting expectations that equity prices will swing around more than normal in these uncertain times. Yet, given historic inflation and a scary outlook for interest rates, it could be much higher. The thinking goes that cut-to-bone positioning is reducing the need for bearish hedges. The equity exposure of systematic managers, for example, is hovering near lows only seen twice over the past decade during the European debt crisis and March 2020 pandemic rout, according to Dutch Bank AG. With cash on the sidelines, some investors are warming to the idea that most of the bad news is over, and favorable seasonal patterns may yet come into play. Since 1990, the 3-month period starting on October 10th has brought the S&P 500 a median gain of 7%. Data compiled by Bespoke Investment Group show on a rolling basis, that's the strongest 3-month trading window for the entire year. Perception is that while we're not there yet, maybe we're a step closer to finding the optimal bottom, said Steve Sosnick, chief strategist at Interactive Brokers LLC. We have a healthcare package of unknown. We have a healthy package of unknown unknowns, but after a 10-year monthly route, we could be getting closer to figuring things out. All the same, a full-scale economic recession threatens to land next year, and the Fed looks powerless to deliver a dovish offset like in previous downturns. That's why Chris Zaccarelli, Chief Investment Officer at Independent Advisor Alliance, urges caution. A lot of people that are trading this market are still using the buy the dip playbook. He said on a phone interview, it's worked before, but this is the first time in 40 years when the inflation is a significant problem and things are different. For now, though, fits of panic are hard to see in the world of options hedging. Take the SIBO skew index, which tracks the cost of out-of-the-money S&P 500 options, reflecting demand for tail risk protections. The gauge fell in 6 of the past 8 weeks to hit the bottom decline decile of readings going back to early 2010. Meanwhile, there is a little appetite to bet on a higher VIX by buying calls, with the SIBO VVIX index, a measure of the gauge's volatility, hovering at muted levels, and more generally, demand for bullish S&P 500 contracts is rising relative to downside hedges. Client demand is totally focused on right tail crash up. Charlie McElligott at Norma Securities International Inc. wrote in a note to clients, they're terrified about missing the big rally when they don't own any / enough underlying. So this is writing with assistance from Justina Lee. All right, so that's that there, right? And a piece of finance news. After $13 trillion stock crash, signs of a turn are now mounting. And that recession talk is definitely ongoing. Going into 2023. So, American Express CEO consumer spending report right here. We're not seeing any changes in consumer spending. This is from writer Brian Sozzi, anchor editor at large for Yahoo Finance. So, in the article, American Express AXPO Stephen Squarey has a message for investors sending the stock lower on Friday following the company's third quarter earnings release. Read the release again. We're not seeing any changes in consumer spending. Told by Yahoo Finance, we have strong credit quality. The CEO also addressed concerns about a business slowdown should a recession materialize. If anything changes, we have plans in place to pivot. He added, "If I didn't say that, you would think I was an idiot." What CEO doesn't have plans in place for a recession? I mean, everybody has, but I had plans in place in 2019. I was able to pull it off the shelf to navigate the pandemic, and that worked out pretty good for us. Amex stock fell more than 4% in pre-market trading. Here's how American Express performed compared to Wall Street estimates. The net sales of $13.6 billion versus $13.49 billion. Diluted EPS 2.47 versus 2.40. Segment performance: U.S. Consumer Services in the sales reports plus 27% and the profits of plus 4.8%. Commercial Services sales plus 23% and the profits of plus 10.7%. International Card Services sales is plus 19% and profits of down a negative 38%. And Global Merchant and of Network Services and sales is up 26% and the profits of 0.54%. American Express reiterated its full year sales forecast for 23% to 25% growth. Earnings are now expected to be above the top end of Amex's prior range at $9.25 to $9.65 per share. On the top of strong consumer spending last quarter, he thinks it will be a good holiday season. So my view is I think we're going to have strong retail spending. We'll have strong travel spending through the holiday season, the CEO said. His comments echo from those from other CEOs this earnings season, including Bank of America's Brian Moynihan, who described American consumer as resilient in a Yahoo Finance interview. So that's it. I guess he's bullish. Definitely that edging on the aspect of a possible recession, but at the same time, giving aspects that could see a bullish sentiment among the spending markets of the holiday seasons going into the new year. So, American Express CEO, we're not seeing any changes in consumer spending article, which is actually declining, was said in here, noting the declination of their stock. It's from NBC News. Pop culture. German protesters arrested throwing mashed potatoes on a Monet painting. So I do have here in global news, and then I have another piece of global news, and I'm going to close out the stream for the day. So German protesters arrested after throwing mashed potatoes at Monet painting that sold for $110 million. This painting is not going to be worth anything if we have to fight over food, said one of the two activists protesting climate change. The painting was unharmed, the museum said. Yeah, and I think they glued their hands to the ground and to the wall. And this person's saying people are starving, people are freezing, people are dying. We are in a climate catastrophe. So they threw mashed potatoes at this painting, glued their hand to the ground, to the walls. And this has been happening to multiple paintings. And to be honest, this one sold for $110 million. Okay, it's great that the painting is all right and not affected because it's someone's art, right? Okay, but I get the message. But at the same time, has like the painting that sold for $110 million, where did the $110 million go? Did that amount to charitable givebacks, that kind of money movement, things like that? So we don't know. I'd have to do more research. Whereas a lot of art sales and broker dealing of artwork has gone back into and can go back into global humanitarian health, most definitely. So maybe this is a strong statement, but is it gone about in the right way? Where maybe this is let's see, let's keep reading. Immediate conservation investigation found that grain stacks, which Monet painted in 1890 and sold for $110.7 million at a 2019 auction, sustained no damage from the stunt as it lies behind a layer of protective glass. Right, that's what I was also thinking. They probably have some layer of protection on top of it. The museum said in a statement on Twitter, the painting will be back on display by Wednesday, the museum added. The Brandenburg police spokesperson did not immediately respond to a question about why the protesters were being investigated for property damage, given that the painting was unharmed. Oh, that's true too. The video protest to the Twitter account. I mean, they have an active protest, right? Okay, they did their active protest. German climate group that claimed responsibility shows two protesters hurling mashed potatoes at the painting and then kneeling in front of it and seeming to glue their hands to the wall. The stunt was similar to one this month at London's National Gallery, where two protesters from the UK group Just Stop Oil threw what appeared to be tomato soup at Vincent van Gogh's painting Sunflowers, which sold for nearly $40 million in 1987 to protest the country's cost of living crisis. That painting was also behind protective glass and unharmed, according to the museum. On Sunday, the German activists referred to the UK protests that they carried out on their own. We are in a climate catastrophe, and all of you are afraid and all of you are afraid of is tomato soup or mashed potatoes on a painting, one of the protesters said, according to an English subtitled version of the video. This painting is not enough to be worth anything if we have to fight over food, the protester adds. A report released this year by the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change warned that urgent action is needed to secure a viable future in the face of climate change, which is already worsening food and water insecurity and weather events like heat waves, droughts, and floods, according to the report. The Last Generation tweeted out a video of the incident Sunday with the caption, "We make this Monet the stage and the public the audience. If it takes a painting, the hashtag mashed potatoes or hashtag tomato soup thrown at it to make society remember that the fossil fuel course is killing us all, then we'll give you mashed potatoes on a painting." Otrude Westheider, the museum's director, said in a statement that while she emphasized that with the protesters' concerns, I am shocked by the means with which they are trying to lend weight to their demands. In the works of the Impressionists, we see the intense artistic engagement with nature, Westheider added, referring to the 19th century art movement that Monet's works are part of. Grain stacks is one of a series of 29 paintings in which Monet depicted the grain stacks in fields near his home in Giverny, France, painting them in different light and weather conditions, according to the museum. Born in 1840, Monet was the leading French Impressionist landscape painter, according to National Gallery. A previous version of this, so I'm going to end it there. I don't want to say anything on this. German protesters are arrested after throwing mashed potatoes at a Monet painting that sold for $110 million. I don't have much else to say about this, to be honest. I'm going to keep going into the news. If I were to say anything, transitioning into this last piece of news for the day, is that these painters painted those paintings, and they had a journey in their artistry that has been preserved, and in a lot of aspects, again, if the painting sold for $110 million, maybe did something to do something humanitarianly and that type of movement of funds for a painting as such, then great. In other aspects, it is also preserving us as people, and focus of just art in general, expression as artists, the expression of what's going on in prior times to recent times through preservation and the practice of art. And so when we look at a Van Gogh, we're inspired to create art that's inspired through our modern times and what's going on and the relevance of what's going on right now. And so that's why past art may be being sold at a value like that, simply. And if that past value of art being sold also can help in a humanitarian way, then more power to it. So throw mashed potatoes on a glass-covered painting. Russia-Ukraine war live. West dismisses claim Ukraine will use dirty bomb. Ukraine says Russia preparing to defend Kherson. The U.S. and U.K. reject Russia's transparently false claim Kyiv will use radioactive material. Ukrainian intelligence chief says Russia not abandoning the city. This is from The Guardian News. So the U.S. dismisses Russia's claim Ukraine will use a dirty bomb. Ukraine and the U.S. have denounced suggestions from Russia that Ukraine is preparing to use a dirty bomb as dangerous lies. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu made the allegation about a dirty bomb in a round of telephone conversations with Western defense chiefs. In those calls, Shoigu conveyed concerns about possible provocations by Ukraine with the use of a dirty bomb, the Russian Defense Ministry said. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday sharply dismissed the claim that Kyiv was preparing to use a dirty bomb. If Russia calls and says that Ukraine is allegedly preparing something, it means one thing: Russia has already prepared all of this, Zelensky said in a video address. There's some parts via Twitter here. Says Secretary Antony Blinken, I spoke with Ukrainian Foreign Minister. So this person here today to discuss the United States' continued support for Ukraine and to reject Russia's false allegations that Ukraine is preparing to use a dirty bomb on its own territory. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken rejected Shoigu's transparently false allegations that Ukraine is preparing to use this dirty bomb. Okay. And we see through any attempt by Russia to use this allegation as a pretext for escalation in a statement issued by the White House. A statement from U.S. National Security Council spokeswoman Andrea Watson said, "We reject reports of Minister Shoigu's transparently false allegations that Ukraine is preparing to use a dirty bomb on its own territory. The world would see through any attempt to use this allegation as a pretext for escalation. A so-called dirty bomb is designed to contaminate a wide area with radioactive material, making it dangerous for civilians. It does not involve a nuclear explosion." All right, so yeah, that's the summary for today. That basically, let's see. Yeah, that's further news here. This is it. This is all I have for the day. This last piece of news here was Russia-Ukraine war live. West dismissed his claim Ukraine will use a dirty bomb. Ukraine says Russia is preparing to defend Kherson. And we're going to end the news there. Right, that's all I have for the day. Again, all of these articles will be on the recap on the YouTube side. So definitely jump over there. You can put your chats in the chat there. Dejan Lifer, let's go. Yeah, so Dejan Lifer in the chat there. You can put your chats up there and have it featured on the Jumbotron right here on the stream. And you can put your comments there to be displayed on the chat parts. And let's see. I think that's it. I'll be back tomorrow between the hours of 8 and 9 a.m. EDT times right here on Blockchain Tech and Finance News. So smash and subscribe the button on the YouTube side. We're live here on Just Chatting on Twitch and on the YouTube side. So again, we're live weekdays during the 8 and 9 a.m. EDT hours. And if you want to check out my Kins art on OpenSea and Foundation for NFT artwork that I create, you can check it out. Just search Kins art. Follow me on TikTok, KinToshi.gg. Follow me on Instagram, KinToshi.gg. And follow me on Twitch, KinToshi.gg, for extra gaming content and live streams there as well. Otherwise, have a great and safe day. I'll see you all back tomorrow. Cheers. Ciao. Peace be with you. Stay safe. Onamashigas.